Hey, Steelers Nation. We've got a lot to unpack from the latest preseason action. And if you've been following along, you know these games are always more than just numbers. They're about momentum, player development, and seeing who might rise to the occasion when it really counts. This past matchup was a perfect example of the chaos and opportunity that comes with a final preseason week. While some of the veterans took it easy and rested, a group of players who haven't had much action yet finally got the chance to stretch their legs, shake off the preseason rust, and show the coaching staff what they can bring to the table. These are the athletes auditioning not just for roster spots on the Steelers, but for their futures in the league. Every snap is an opportunity to make a statement, and that's exactly what this game provided, even if the scoreboard doesn't tell the whole story. Now, before we get too deep into numbers, it's worth noting the unusual approach taken by Carolina. They decided to sit almost everyone you would consider a key contributor. For fans, that meant seeing a lot of unfamiliar faces on the field, which made the game feel a little surreal at times. When a team does that, it shifts the focus entirely to the next tier of talent, the young players, the backups, and those try to prove they belong at the professional level. And for the Steelers, that scenario turned into a perfect testing ground. You could see it in the way the offensive rhythm worked, the defensive alignments were tested, and how the coaching staff evaluated individual performances under real game conditions. For players who have only practiced, only run drills, and only simulated game scenarios, this is the moment to put their skills to the test under pressure. Looking at the first half, the numbers tell a story, but only part of it. Rudolph's performance was modest at best, completing 6 of 8 passes for just 36 yards, with no touchdowns and a pick. That's the kind of stat line that raises eyebrows on paper, but in context, it's more nuanced. He was playing with a lineup that hadn't fully gelled and facing a defense that wasn't giving him a full measure challenge because Carolina had opted to sit nearly all of their starters. Meanwhile, Skylar Thompson, on the other hand, looked sharp, going 6 of 6 for 125 yards and delivering a touchdown without a single interception. That efficiency under pressure, even in a preseason game, and it's the kind of performance that immediately catches the attention of coaches and fans alike. Part of that came from a big play where Miller managed to get behind the defensive backfield, a scenario that, realistically, wouldn't happen against a regular season defense running their standard schemes. But in the moment, it worked, it gained yardage, and it gave us a glimpse of Miller's potential impact. Those moments are what make preseason games more than just warm-ups. They are auditions, and sometimes the plays that happen in these games define careers. Defensively, the Steelers had their own set of challenges. Carolina's quarterback play, while not stellar, revealed some areas that the defense needs to tighten up, particularly in tackling and maintaining discipline. Penalties were a big story for the Steelers throughout the first half. 8 penalties for 64 yards. That's a level of sloppiness that can't carry over into the regular season. But it does give insight into which players are still adjusting to game speed and where communication might be breaking down on the field. Carolina, by comparison, was much cleaner with only 3 penalties for 28 yards, though their lack of starters obviously contributed to that. Still, penalties and poor tackling in these games provide valuable data. Coaches can watch film, identify recurring issues, and make adjustments before the season opener, which is exactly what they are paying these preseason weeks to do. The rushing game was another area of interest. Caleb Johnson had 6 carries for 24 yards, a modest contribution, but enough to get a feel for how the offensive line is handling blocks and how Johnson finds gaps in a real defensive front. For Carolina, the rushing attack was limited, but that's consistent with a team sitting most of its playmakers. The Steelers' total yards in the first half hovered just under 200, while Carolina managed about 150. On paper, the yardage differential seems significant, but when you account for one long bomb from Miller and the general preseason pace, it's less telling than it might seem. Yards per play, time of possession, and third down conversions all paint a picture that is richer than raw totals alone. The Steelers had a slight advantage in yards per play, and while they didn't dominate the time of possession, they made the plays that mattered in critical moments. Injuries, of course, always grab attention, and Derek Harmon's moment on the cart had everyone holding their breath. A knee sprain is never ideal, and while he returned to the sideline laughing and joking, it's important not to assume he's fully ready for the next game. Coach Tomlin's assessment that there were only two significant injuries in the game, Harmon and Brandon Johnson, offers perspective, but even minor injuries in preseason can have cascading effects if not managed properly. For Brandon Johnson, who had shown flashes of potential, ending up on injured reserve could mean a longer-term plan for development, possibly returning next year stronger. For Harmon, the hope is that his playful demeanor on the sideline is an accurate reflection of recovery, but it's too early to make any guarantees. In the NFL, recovery timelines are never exact, and preseason injuries are reminders that even practice-level intensity carries risk. Defensively, a rookie who has started to turn heads is Wyatt Black. 2 consecutive plays where he dominated his matchups caught the eye of coaches and analysts alike. Initially, he might have been seen as a mid-round developmental prospect, but now it's clear he has the potential to become an impact player quickly, possibly even a starter within a year. Moments like this are why scouts pay attention to preseason games. They reveal not just raw talent, but how a player reacts under pressure, how they exploit mismatches, and how their instincts translate to live play. Black's performance is a perfect case study. Athleticism, timing, and awareness combine to create plays that simply cannot be ignored. Take the Steelers' rookie defensive line, for instance. Wyatt Black, who has already been generating buzz, didn't just show up, he dominated. 2 consecutive plays where he overpowered his opponents were enough to shift the narrative around his potential. Black's combination of athleticism, timing, and football intelligence signals that he could very well be a starter within the next season or two. That's the kind of upside that makes a coaching staff sit up and pay attention. When evaluating talent, it's not just about immediate contribution. It's about projecting impact over time. Black is demonstrating that he can change games, and that potential is invaluable. Preseason may be considered a warm-up, but for players like him, it's a stage, and he's taking full advantage. On the offensive side, the quarterback situation remains a central storyline. Skylar Thompson has been quietly putting together performances that are impossible to ignore. Completing 10 of 13 passes for 152 yards and a touchdown without throwing an interception is a stat line that demands respect, regardless of the competition level. Meanwhile, Howard, while still a player with immense long-term potential, hasn't yet shown the same consistency in live game action this preseason. This presents a fascinating decision point for the coaching staff. Do they prioritize potential or proven performance when determining the third-string quarterback heading into the regular season? In football, these choices are rarely simple. The right answer often balances immediate readiness with future development. And in this case, Thompson's recent performances make a compelling argument for trust in the short term. The running back situation adds yet another layer of complexity. Nichols and Sermon have both shown flashes of brilliance. Nichols has a style that is difficult to tackle. He's compact, powerful, and able to gain extra yards when it looks like the play should have ended. Sermon, on the other hand, brings versatility and vision, able to find lanes and exploit gaps effectively. Deciding who gets priority on the depth chart or practice squad isn't just a matter of stats. It's about understanding who can respond to adversity, who can execute in the heat of the moment, and who fits the team's strategic vision. Preseason performances provide coaches with a framework for making these decisions, but they also leave room for debate. Both players are growing on the staff, and the coming weeks will likely see more strategic evaluation as the regular season approaches. Wide receivers Miller, Austin, and Roman have been generating conversation as well. All 3 are smaller, speed-focused athletes, and while size concerns exist, their ability to stretch the field and create separation makes them vital assets. In today's NFL, speed is often just as valuable as size, particularly in slot positions and specialized packages. These 3 receivers bring versatility and the potential for explosive plays that can change the dynamic of an offense in an instant. Their performances this preseason suggest that cutting any of them would be a significant loss, which underscores the delicate balance coaches face when finalizing the roster. Defensive cohesion remains a focus as well. While the Steelers racked up penalties early in the preseason matchup, these infractions offer insights rather than just criticism. 8 penalties for 64 yards in the first half, many of which came from the offensive line, highlight areas where focus and communication need to improve. Tackling techniques, alignment responsibilities, and reaction speed are all under scrutiny, and coaches use this film to correct mistakes before they become costly in the regular season. The contrast with Carolina, who had only 3 penalties in the same span, underscores the importance of discipline, even in a game where starters were mostly absent. It's a reminder that preparation and attention to detail can influence outcomes as much as raw talent. Injuries, even minor ones, are always a storyline in preseason. Derek Harmon's knee sprain initially caused concern when he had to leave the field on a cart, but his return to the sideline, smiling and interacting with teammates, offered some relief. Still, preseason injuries require caution. Even seemingly minor issues can linger, affect practice performance, and alter readiness for the opener. Brandon Johnson's situation similarly highlights how teams must manage health and development simultaneously. While his contributions were promising, the possibility of a stint on injured reserve could allow him to recover fully while providing the team flexibility in the present. These strategic considerations are part of what makes roster management such a complex and fascinating aspect of professional football. Special teams also played a role in the broader narrative. Ben Sauls, for instance, delivered 4 perfect punts, including distances near 50 yards. While punting rarely grabs headlines, performances like this can impact a player's career trajectory, creating opportunities either within the current team or elsewhere in the league. Every player in preseason is auditioning, and contributions on special teams are often the ticket to a roster spot, particularly for those who may not immediately impact the offense or defense. Another point worth noting is how the Steelers' young players are adjusting to game speed. Auditioning for the roster is one thing, but thriving under the mental and physical pressures of live play is another. Players like Wyatt Black, Skylar Thompson, Nichols, Sermon, and Miller are all demonstrating that they can translate practice success into in-game execution. These performances are what separate hopefuls from professionals. Preseason is where potential becomes tangible, where coaches can watch players respond under pressure, make adjustments, and see who is ready for the season ahead. With each performance analyzed, each highlight reviewed, and each moment of individual brilliance or misstep considered, the Steelers staff is building a clearer picture of the team that will take the field for real this season. The preseason may not be glamorous, but is the proving ground where potential becomes visible, where futures are shaped, and where careers can be made or lost. For fans, it's an opportunity to witness the emergence of new stars, understand the depth of talent, and appreciate the complexity of assembling a competitive NFL roster. From Skylar's poise to Wyatt Black's dominance, from Miller's explosiveness to the subtle contributions of players like Bruner and Sauls, this game provided a wealth of insight into the present and future of Pittsburgh Steelers football, offering a story that goes far beyond statistics and final scores. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves throughout the NFL community, the Pittsburgh Steelers are rumored to have pulled off what many are already calling the most significant signing in the franchise's storied history: the acquisition of superstar wide receiver Tyreek Hill. While no official statement has been released by either the Steelers or Hill's camp, multiple sources close to league insiders suggest that talks between both parties have been quietly progressing over the past several weeks, culminating in a deal that could reshape the team's offensive identity for years to come. Hill, known for his game-breaking speed and ability to stretch defenses like few others in the league, would instantly become the centerpiece of a Steelers offense that has long been searching for a dynamic, all-around threat since the days of Antonio Brown. Though nothing has been signed or confirmed publicly, whispers coming out of the Steelers' front office suggest that this move was orchestrated with precision and intention, aimed at reigniting the franchise's chase for a Super Bowl. For a team with a legacy built on gritty defense, and methodical offensive execution. The potential addition of Tyreek Hill marks a dramatic philosophical shift, and fans across Pittsburgh are holding their breath as the rumors continue to swirl with growing intensity. If the reports hold true, this would not only be the most high-profile signing in Steelers history, but arguably one of the most audacious moves in recent NFL memory. Tyreek Hill's impact on the field is undeniable. His explosive acceleration, unmatched agility, and ability to turn short gains into long touchdowns have made him a nightmare for defensive coordinators since his debut. The Steelers, who have long prided themselves on drafting and developing talent, appear to have taken a bold step toward immediate contention by targeting an established superstar rather than banking on improving potential. Behind closed doors, there is talk that the Steelers' coaching staff has already begun sketching out offensive schemes that would fully utilize Hill's unique skill set, including jet sweeps, deep posts, and creative motion packages that would keep opposing defenses guessing. While some traditionalists in the fan base have expressed skepticism about such a flashy acquisition, others are electrified by the thought of pairing Hill with the team's young quarterback and emerging receiving core. The deal, rumored to be both financially substantial and heavily incentivized, would reflect the team's full commitment to maximizing their competitive window, and the NFL landscape could look very different if this move indeed becomes official in the coming days. One of the most intriguing aspects of this potential signing is how it came to be. Insiders have been hinting that Steelers general manager Omar Khan has been working tirelessly behind the scenes, leveraging relationships, salary cap gymnastics, and even restructuring existing contracts to make room for Hill's anticipated salary. Tyreek Hill, currently under contract with his previous team, is believed to have expressed interest in a change of scenery due to philosophical differences and the desire for a larger market role. Pittsburgh, with its deep football culture and national visibility, may have offered exactly what Hill was seeking: a chance to be the face of a franchise with championship aspirations. It is also worth noting that the Steelers' locker room, long known for its disciplined and team-first mentality, could be the ideal environment for a player of Hill's caliber to thrive without distraction. However, the mechanics of the deal remain shrouded in mystery. Was there a trade involved? Did the Steelers give up future draft capital or key players? These questions remain unanswered, fueling speculation and debate across sports talk shows and online forums. Regardless of the exact details, one thing is certain: the football world is watching Pittsburgh very closely, and every whisper, every leaked text, every sidelong glance is being scrutinized for signs of confirmation. From a strategic standpoint, the rumored acquisition of Tyreek Hill represents more than just adding talent. It symbolizes a dramatic evolution in the Steelers' approach to offensive football. Historically, Pittsburgh has leaned on a power running game, complemented by a stout defense and a ball-control passing strategy. Hill, however, is the type of player who can flip a game on its head in a matter of seconds. His ability to score from anywhere on the field forces defenses to stay honest, often requiring double coverage and opening opportunities for other receivers and tight ends to find space. The potential ripple effect of Hill's presence cannot be overstated. Not only would he draw the opponent's top cornerback every week, but he would also dictate how safeties are deployed, potentially freeing up the running game and short passing lanes. For young quarterbacks, having a receiver like Hill can serve as both a safety blanket and a nuclear weapon, allowing for aggressive play calling and more explosive drives. While critics argue that high-octane offenses often struggle in cold-weather playoff games, supporters counter that today's NFL demands versatility and adaptability, both of which Hill brings in abundance. If this move materializes, it could herald a new era of Steelers football, one that blends tradition with innovation in ways few could have predicted even a year ago. As fans flood social media with reactions ranging from disbelief to euphoria, the broader implications of Tyreek Hill joining the Steelers continue to be dissected by analysts and insiders alike. What does this mean for the AFC North, a division already brimming with elite talent and fierce rivalries? Could Hill's arrival tilt the balance of power and elevate Pittsburgh to frontrunner status? While those questions will only be answered on the field, the very possibility has injected a surge of excitement into a fan base that has long been yearning for a return to dominance. Local businesses are reportedly preparing for a spike in jersey sales, and ticket demand has already begun to climb in anticipation of a more explosive, highlight-driven brand of football. Yet, amid the growing frenzy, there's a cautious undercurrent. Fans know all too well that until contracts are signed and press conferences held, anything can happen. For now, the city of Pittsburgh finds itself at the center of the NFL rumor mill, with every headline, tweet, and insider report feeding into the growing sense that something historic is on the horizon. Whether this is the dawn of a new dynasty or simply a tantalizing what-if remains to be seen, but one thing is undeniable. The entire football world is talking about the Steelers and Tyreek Hill, and the noise isn't dying down anytime soon. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.